Alright, thank you. Alright, so it doesn't look like it right now, but this will be a run of Pokemon. What'll happen is I'll set the date and time before I start the run, and the reason why I'm doing this will become clear when I actually get the run going. The countdown will be kind of weird. The timing will start basically as soon as I boot the game up from the main menu. I'll just say go, and we can start the timer then. Yeah, it's 2074 somewhere in the world metric measurement. Anyways, we'll go ahead and get this going. You also might hear some popping in the background, but don't worry about that. I'll explain that as well. And go! Alrighty. So this will be an 80% speed run of Pokemon Pearl. Right out of the gate, you'll notice that I was in the DS date and time settings when I started the run. And there's a good reason for that. That reason is I'll be doing a bit of RNG manipulation at the start of this run, at least for the first half of the run. And what that entails, at least for this intro bit, is I started the game at a certain date and time, and then at the end of this intro sequence where I name the trainer and the rival, there will be a news report, and on that screen with the news report, I have to press the A button to advance the screen on a certain frame. This game runs at 30 frames per second, so on that news report screen I had to hit the perfect 1/30th of a second on my A button press in order to get the RNG seed we want for this run, because we do need a specific RNG seed in order to get the starter stats that we need to do this run. You really could do this run without manipulation, but doing it with the manipulate stats is a lot better. Alright. So this is a frame perfect input, so this could take several tries to get. But hopefully I got it first try. Yeah, that was a bit early, I think. Either a bit early or a bit late. That was on the wrong frame. So unfortunately this part of the manip can take quite a while. It isn't uncommon for runners of these games to take hours upon hours just to get the initial seed. Yes, the famed Red Gyarados from the Johto games. So I'll give this like 2 more tries, counting this try, and then if I don't get it by the 3rd try, I'll just go through the intro as I normally would, and then I'll load a backup cart. So one tip I can talk about while I go through the intro again is you notice when I gain control, I check my trainer ID, and the reason I did that is because there's a couple of ways you can verify that you're on the correct RNG seed when doing the manip, and whether or not you have a certain trainer ID number is one of those methods. The ID number we want in this case is 14093. If we see that trainer ID number when I check the trainer ID, we know that we're on the right track. Yeah, Link Himura. Getting the manip is pretty much required to get not even a world record, but a good time in this game. And it's also a lot easier with the manip, as hard as this manip is. It's still very much worth it to do. Alright, that looked a bit better. That might have been a bit early though. Whoops, I did not mean to check the bag. Hey, there we go. There's the ID we want. Alright, we can keep going. Alright. So I changed a couple of options there that are pretty typical for Pokemon speedruns. The 2 important ones are I set the text speed to fast, so the text scrolls as fast as possible, as this is a speedrun. And I changed the button style to L equals A, which gives me an extra button to mash through text. Alright, so the next part of the manip I'll be doing right now, for the manip, after hitting the initial seed, we need to advance the RNG in specific ways by moving in specific ways in the overworld map, because one major component to how the RNG advances is the NPCs in the overworld. Their movement is dependent on your movement, so if you move in the same way every time, they'll move in the same way every time, and when they move in the same way every time, the RNG will advance in the same way every run, provided you do the movement correctly, which I have been doing so far. And by doing this, we'll get specific stats on our starter coming up that are really good. Once I get into Verity Lakefront here, just to my left, we'll be in the clear. And getting this part is by far and away the most important part of the route, because doing the route with, say, a worse Chimchar is a lot riskier. And we have a quick cutscene here with the professor of this region, Rowan, and his partner, Lucas. And that brings up another point. I picked the girl trainer when I went through the intro. That makes it so Rowan has the boy trainer, who I just said his name was Lucas, as his partner, and Lucas talks less than Dawn, so it saves a bit of time in text. Well, it's risky in the fact that you don't know what your hidden power is going to be later in the game, Gym Freak. It does have that safety measure in place, which is nice, but it's still kind of annoying to run with. Alright, so our rival is the most impatient rival in any Pokemon game, and he gets us caught in that horde of Starlies there. And we have to pick a starter to fight them off. And of course, we're picking Chimchar. He has a lot of good fire moves and fighting type moves that we'll be using in this run to pretty much plow through every Pokemon we come across. And this is the first with the Wild Starly. The weird thing about this fight is, for some reason, the Starly at all. It's just a weird mechanic that Game Freak decided to put in, I guess. I guess the reason behind that is they didn't want you to defeat the Starly too quickly, because it is a tutorial battle after all. So it's just an annoying little thing. Alright, so the manipulation is technically over with. Like, I technically, past this point, I technically wouldn't have to manipulate any further, but if I keep the manipulation going from here on out, to keep the manipulation going, if I keep the manipulation going from here on out, yeah, I'll be able to manipulate encounters such that I won't get any extra encounters in the grass. Which saves a lot more time, because an encounter in this game takes 12 seconds, so any chance you get to skip encounters, the better. Getting the manipulation in full in a run is pretty difficult, and so I may very well mess it up at some point, but luckily it's not too detrimental to the run. For reasons I'll touch on when I happen to mess the manip up. Alright, so as soon as I gain control here, I'm going to concentrate for a bit, just so I can do the movement. Oh, well, I already messed up. God dang it. So that was a mistake. I accidentally turned up too early and I bonked into the mailbox. And I already got an encounter. Great job, me. So luckily, messing up the manip like that isn't too detrimental to the run. It's not like Heart Gold, for example, where you need to keep the RNG manip going to catch a certain Pokemon. Really the only thing it affects is you get more encounters, and that's about it. It just causes extra time loss. The run is still completable from here. So yeah, we'll be nicknaming our starter in a bit, and from the poll I did on Twitter for the starter nickname, Anime won, so I'll be nicknaming the Chimchar Anime here. Hopefully Keyzeron's not watching this. Alright, there we go. We have nicknamed our Chimchar Anime. And then Rowan here is just giving us a quick spiel. Like the usual, hey, you should go out and catch Pokemon and fill out the Pokedex. And he gives us a Pokedex real quick here. Yes, exactly, Rodrant. The power of anime is fueling this run. Anime gives me life. Anime is life. So Lucas here is just going to give us a quick tutorial of the various facilities in this game, like the Poke Center and the Pokemart. And we'll actually be going into the Pokemart real quick to get a bunch of healing items. A bunch of regular potions, specifically. This will be really good for us for the whole run. Later on in the run, I'll also be grabbing some super potions for safety. So even though I failed the Manip, I'm still going to try to do the movement path as though I had the Manip going still. So we're going to spend all our money on potions and then head straight out. So hopefully on the way back to my mom's house I don't get too many encounters. Because I messed the Manip up at the first possible opportunity. Yeah, there we go, got another encounter. A lot of Bidoof here. That brings up another thing to talk about. So, in a glitchless run, we would obviously be capturing a couple of HM slaves, and Bidoof would be one of them. But we actually don't need any HM slaves in this run, because Chimchar, later on Monferno, is able to learn all the HMs needed to complete the game with the route that we take in any percent. So we just have to talk with our mom real quick here. And the nice thing about talking to our mom there is that we get a free heal, which is pretty nice. And we have our rival's mom here saying, hey, you should bring the town map to your friend. So we're gonna go do that. Again, if I had the Manip going, I'd be able to avoid getting encounters, but I was a dingleberry and I messed it up. I just have to hope that I don't get too many encounters. I say that and I immediately get an encounter. Again, it's another Bidoof. Alright. Alright, so this is the catching tutorial, and during this I want to talk a bit about how the RNG advances. A mechanic with this RNG is that during most cutscenes where you have to advance through text, like this catching tutorial, the RNG does not advance. But for some odd reason, during certain cutscenes, the RNG still advances. And one of those cutscenes is the cutscene that'll happen after this one, where Lucas here gives us some Pokeballs. If I had the manip going, in order to keep the RNG advancing in the same way, in order to get the results that I want, my mashing would pretty much have to be on point in order for the RNG to be at a good value. But unfortunately, I messed it up, so we don't have to worry about our text mashing. So we'll just go through the motions and go through this route. So if I was doing the manip, I'd do a fancy bit of movement where I go between the loading zone of this route and Sand Gem. But we don't have to do that since I messed the manip up. Getting a Shinx is annoying because there's a chance that the Shinx you encounter has Intimidate, right there. And when the Pokemon has Intimidate, it produces extra text saying that your Pokemon got hit by Intimidate, and it's really slow. And of course you get another Shinx. Yeah, kind of drastic D. Ooh. I won't. So I was a little tempted there. In the Platinum any % run, I don't know, I think it's only in Glitchless for Platinum. Pokemon Platinum, by the way, is the enhanced version of this game. But in Platinum, in Glitchless, we would catch a Kricketot, and with the manipulation we do for that run, we would get an item called Metronome, which raises the attack of your... Actually, I forget what I said. Anyway, I was going off on a tangent there, but anyways. This is the first trainer fight of the run. And for being the first trainer fight of the run, he's actually one of the scariest fights of the run because this Starly has Quick Attack, which takes priority over all the moves that you have. Oh, nice crit there. And Quick Attack also does a decent chunk of damage to Chimchar for being this early in the game. So there's a good chance that we could get an untimely Quick Attack crit and kill us. But luckily it didn't happen there. And this next fight with this last, unsurprisingly, with 2 Bidoofs. And this fight is actually fairly important because we get our first fire move of the run. And the nice thing with fire, with moves, with Chimchar, is that an attribute gets applied to the move called Stab, or same type attack bonus. To explain Stab, if a move shares the same type with the Pokemon that learns it, the power of that move gets boosted by 50%. So in the case of Ember, it's normally 40 power, but with the boost from Stab, it becomes 60 power instead, which will boost a lot of the... And later on we'll be learning moves like Flame Wheel, that is even more powerful and we'll be able to do a lot of damage. I'm also in Blaze there for this Bidoof, which is nice. That's another, like, time-saving thing with Pokemon that's pretty important for an optimal run, and that's Blaze, which is an ability where if Chimchar, or any fighter-type Pokemon, is below 1/3 of their health, all of their fire-type moves will get a 50% boost. So if you compound that with things like Stab, you'll start to do ridiculous amounts of damage with your fire-type moves. And that'll become apparent later in the run because we'll be one-hitting a lot of things with Ember and later Flame Wheel. But Blaze doesn't help save time in this fight. It's a 2-hit on this Shinx no matter what, with or without with or without Blaze. What's the range for the Blaze? Blaze Ember? I don't know. I should, but I don't. Professional Pokemon speedrunner here. Meanwhile, I get another encounter. Alright. So we won't have to worry about getting a bunch of encounters for the rest of the run, because once I beat the first gym, we'll have access to repels, and that will allow me to avoid encounters for the rest of the game after that. Going back to that Blaze Ember range, I don't know, but it seems to be 100%. I've never had it not one hit, I don't think, when I was in Blaze. Alright, so in the Pokemon school here, I'm actually going to go out of my way and fight these two trainers. Oh, I actually did not heal, so I have to heal in the battle. It might seem like I'm fighting these two trainers for no reason, but the reason I'm fighting these two trainers is because when you defeat both of them, you get a move called Hidden Power, or get a TM for a move called Hidden Power. And Hidden Power is a bit of a special move because the type and power of Hidden Power is based on the stats of your Pokemon. And because we manipulate the stats for this Chimchar here, we get the same Hidden Power every time. In the case of any percent, we get a Hidden Power that's Grass type with a base power of 66. Either that or 69. And that's very helpful for the early game because the first gym is all Rock-type Pokemon, and we don't have any good move. Chimchar doesn't have any good moves to fight those types of Pokemon. So having a Grass-type Hidden Power, which is super effective against Rock-types, is going to help a lot. My Menuing is on point. So yeah, I meant to heal before that battle, but I was dumb and forgot. That's fine. So yeah, these Abras are pretty straightforward. They're not too dangerous either. The only remotely dangerous thing about them is they have a pretty powerful Hidden Power, which I believe is Dark type with a base power of 70. So it does a decent chunk of your health, but as long as you're above, I'd say 15 health, they usually aren't that big of a problem. They can crit, but it's not very likely. Yeah, Gym Freak, exactly. That'll come up later in that fight. Alright, so we got Hidden Power, and I'll be teaching it straight away because I'll be using it in the first rival battle coming up, which is the only rival battle we encounter in any percent because we don't play much of the game in this run. That'll become apparent why once I get to the end portion. Unlucky crit win? At some point. Probably. Given how luck-based Pokemon is in a speedrun setting. Alright. So when I talk to this random dude, and he tells us, hey, if you talk to these clowns, I'll give you this Poketch. And we're like, okay, sure, deal. So we'll just talk to these clowns, as a 10-year-old kid does. I'm gonna answer yes to all of these questions, which are the correct options for all of them. And the Poketch is actually pretty important for the run. Not because... well, one, we can't progress out of the city if we don't get it. But also, it plays a pretty important role with the glitch we do at the end of this run, because for the glitch at the end of this run, I'll be needing to move a specific amount of steps in a spot where I can't tell where I am, and the Poketch has an app where it counts the amount of steps you've taken, so that'll be pretty helpful for that glitch at the end. The glitch at the end is great, by the way, for those that haven't seen it. But yeah, we still have to move a specific amount of steps. That was my point. The Gym Freak. Alright, so this is the first rival battle. It's pretty straightforward, and there's nothing too dangerous about this fight. There's another Starly in this fight that has Quick Attack, but it's not nearly as dangerous as the first Starly we fought on the previous route, because it does a lot less damage. It only does 4 damage or so with Quick Attack, as opposed to the 6 it did before. So yeah, there's Quick Attack, but it only did 4 damage there. This Starly's pretty straightforward. We take care of it with a couple of embers. Oh, nice burn. Useless burn, but hey, we'll roll with it. Alright. Of course, another Quick Attack just to rub it in. Actually, he only did 3 that time. He usually does 4. Maybe that was a low roll. I'll talk about low rolls in a bit, but anyway. So this Pokemon is straightforward again. We Hidden Power twice, or we use Hidden Power twice on him. And if you're doing a run of this without RNG manipulation, you wouldn't know what your Hidden Power is going to be. So this Piplup would sort of be the litmus test as to how good your Hidden Power is. So you can end up getting screwed over and get a really bad Hidden Power at this point in a no RNG manip type of run. Oh yeah, burn-reducing physical damage, that's right. I forgot about that. Once again, professional Pokemon speedrunner right here. There's an optional trainer there, but we don't need to fight him. We'll just go around him. The nice thing about doing a no manipulation type of run for this is there's a lot of optional trainers you can fight on the way to the first gym in order to get some extra experience. But we won't be doing that in this run because our stats are really good. Now we just need to talk to this hiker real quick to get Rock Smash. We won't be teaching it quite yet. I'll be teaching it after the first gym. It'll become pretty important later because there's some rocks we need to break in order to progress through the game. And it'll also be helpful in one battle, but hopefully not in a second battle, and in a second battle as well. They'll hopefully not have to fight. The game might say otherwise. Yes, professional gamer, exactly. There's this random kid guiding us through town. He's irrelevant, don't worry about him. He's just guiding us to the gym. Alright, so the gym leader of the city is not actually in the gym. He's just slacking off down in the mines, so we have to go bully him into fighting us. Hopefully I don't have too many encounters along the way, because the mine here, as well as the cave I was just in, have pretty low encounter rates. I don't Rock Smash Jupiter, Gym Freak. I do a different route than that. I do the double flame wheel. Nice, I got an encounter on the same tile that I was gonna grab that item. Thanks for that, game. Yeah, if you use the ! runner command. Yeah, there you go. Alright. Let me just talk to Rorik here, and he's gonna go back to the gym. I'm gonna heal to full, just for safety reasons. And then I'm gonna escape rope out. One other thing I did want to note, as far as Generation 4 of Pokemon speedrunning is concerned, is the engine for these games, Diamond and Pearl in particular, are pretty slow. So one way we try to optimize around that is combining actions into a single menu. So say for example I wanted to escape rope there, but I also wanted to heal, so I do both those actions in the same menu in order to save time. So yeah, there are 2 optional trainers we can fight there. But since our stats are good enough because of the manip, we don't have to fight them, and we can go straight to Roark. So Roark is actually a pretty scary fight for Chimchar. If you go into this fight without evolving to Monferno, good luck to you, because it's really hard, and you'll pretty much die very quickly. But it's pretty straightforward with the manip, because we 2-shot, or 1-shot, the Geodude there and the Onix coming up with Hidden Power. And the Cornidos is a pretty special Pokemon in this fight, because it's known in Sinnoh, more particularly in Platinum, for being a huge pain, but he's actually pretty consistent in Diamond and Pearl, at least in any percent. I believe in Glitchless as well. And you'll see in a bit once we fight him. Rock with the hidden power of anime? Yeah, exactly. Alright, so this Cornidos is consistent, and you'll see how. So we use 1 hidden power. He'll use 1 of 3 moves after we use hidden power. Leer, Pursuit, or Headbutt. Hopefully we see Leer. Alright, use Pursuit, but that's not bad. That only does like 1/3 of our health. So it's not too annoying. You can actually crit me and kill me, but that's not very likely. So once we do this 3rd hidden power, he does not do anything, and we just outspeed him. Alright, and that's the fight. Pretty easy in any percent, but it's especially in Diamond and Pearl, but it's way harder on Platinum. With the more updated routes, it might actually be a bit easier on Platinum, but I'm not sure because I haven't ran through the route for Platinum any percent and Glitchless in a while. And that Cornelius, by the way, is a 2-hit if you manage to get a crit on that 2nd hidden power, but it's pretty rare. So I did mention earlier that I want to talk about damage rolls. So this game, with each move you use, you don't do a set amount of damage unless it's a set damage move like, say, Dragon Rage in Gen 5. It has a certain amount of chance out of 16 to do a certain amount of damage. So if it was, say, 1 in 16, that would be on the lower end, and if it was, like, say, 15 and 16, that would be on the higher end. Oh, Onix is. Okay. I remember in Platinum Glitchless, Cornidos was the real problem, because it can flinch you into oblivion with Headbutt. I'm playing on Pearl, and that brings up another point that I should talk about. So this route that I'm going through is equally viable on both Pearl, which is the version I'm playing on, and Diamond, because there's no version difference that adds a significant amount of time to the run if you play on any of the 2 versions. Glitchless, if you're doing an older route, you play on Pearl because the legendary in that game, which is Palkia, is a lot better than Dialga, the legendary for Diamonds, because he has a much better moveset to work with for a speedrun setting. Yeah, I remember in Glitchless, Roark was a pain. But I imagine the fight for Plat is similar to this, besides the X attack you mentioned. Alright, so this is the evil team of the game, called Team Galactic. And we have a relatively straightforward double fight to do. The main idea behind this fight is we want Turtwig to do chip damage on the Zubat there, while we take care of this Wurmple in the first turn. Ideally he uses Tackle because Absorb is a pitiful amount of damage. But either way it's fine, we just need Turtwig to do damage to the Zubat. Oh yeah, Plant Fight is Mach Punch. So yeah, there, Turtwig used Tackle, which is good. Oh my goodness! Wow, the Turtwig put in work there! I've never seen the Turtwig crit Tackle there. Marathon luck, I tell ya. Oh my god. Alright, so we evolve into Netflix adaptation. No, actually, we evolve into Monferno. The nice thing about Monferno is not only do we learn a fighting type move right away, when we evolve to Monferno, Chimchar Monferno gains the fighting type. So if you remember from earlier when I explained Stab, that same power bonus also applies to Mach Punch. So that'll be pretty helpful for some later fights in this run. Alright, so coming up is our first encounter with a spinner. So spinners are these trainers that randomly look in any 4 directions, up, down, left, or right. And the way these spinners turn is pretty much completely random. If I had the manipulation going still, I'd be able to control the spinners pretty much consistently if I keep the movement going. But since I messed it up, I'll have to do the good old-fashioned avoid the spinners and hope they don't quick turn me as I pass them. So let's see what we get here. So right before I try to pass the spinner, I pull out the bag to give me a bit of buffer in order to pass them. It's not terribly consistent, but it still helps. Also, I think I forgot to teach Rock Smash, so good thing I remembered. So yeah, the strat Gym Freak for my route is I teach Rock Smash over Scratch. So yeah, remember that first spinner we came across? We're gonna have another one here. Luckily it isn't too bad to try and fight, because she only has 1 Pokemon and it dies in 1 shot to Ember. And she didn't quick turn us there, which is good. When I say quick turn, what I mean by that is the trainer is when a spinner looks at me while I try to pass it. It's a pretty common thing that happens in these runs. And it's kind of annoying to deal with because one, while you do get the extra experience, that trainer extra fight does waste time. So we just talked to that little girl there. Her father got kidnapped by Team Galactic and got brought to the Windworks and is stuck there. So we have to fight a quick gauntlet of these Team Galactic runts in order to get to her father. And this is one of those points in the game, like with most Pokemon games, where there's a gauntlet of fights with the evil team of the game. There'll be a couple of these that we encounter in the run. And they're relatively straightforward because we kill them very quickly with our fire type moves, as well as Rock Smash and Mach Punch later. And this is the point of the run where we start to kill everything pretty easily. Like we one-shot most everything from here on out. It's a good choice you made, Rodrant. The Gen 4 games are really good. In doing the route for Glitchless and Any Percent and just playing through the game recently, I decided that Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum as well are actually my favorite Pokemon games because I love the music and I love the new mechanics that Gen 4 added. One in particular that we'll see later that really helps the speedrun. Do you ever have to go to the Pokemon Center? No. That's the nice thing about this run, we don't have to waste time doing that. I technically could, if I wanted to, just for a bit of safety, because there is a Pokemon Center, I believe, in the town we're in right now, which is Floaroma. But you don't need to. And the PP management isn't terribly tight, because with the moveset we have right now, the strategies for each fight are really flexible. Now I'm talking about the Bike Giga Frosty when I talked about mechanics. This physical special split is really nice too. So for some reason the Team Galactic was trying to steal this guy's honey as part of their evil plan. Don't know why they need honey for their plan to take over the universe, or so they say, but hey, we'll roll with it. So we defeated those two grunts, so we can go over to the Windworks now. Have a quick grunt fight here with a Glameow. And the nice thing about this Glameow is it's weak to both fighting and rock type moves, and we just so happen to have both of those at this point. I need to reference my notes real quick here. That's a Rock Smash. For some of these Pokemon we can, like, alternate between using either Rock Smash or Mach Punch, since both are equally effective against these. Yeah, same Giga Frosty. Unbeknownst to that grunt, we had the key the whole time. And they'll be kind of surprised when we enter the Windworks here. And that grunt is actually another spinner that we have to avoid, but like the previous two trainers I hit, they're not too bad if you do have to fight them. Once again, pulling out the bag for a bit of buffer, which isn't terribly consistent again, but it helps. And in that case, he quick turned me, so we're gonna have to fight him. Yeah, the route that I do does Rock Smash on that Glameow, Gym Freak. So luckily this fight isn't too bad. He dies in one hit to Ember. At least it should be a one hit. Yeah, there we go. For just one Pokemon Stomp, it glitches. It's the first thing, Twiggy. But why? I don't know. It's just a little route diversion I do. Anyway, I'm gonna equip a Pecha Berry because there's a Pokemon in this fight that has the potential to poison us. And by equipping a Pecha Berry there, the poison will go away as soon as we get it. Exactly, Gym Freak. Alright, so this is the first of what are called Team Galactic Commanders. Just think of them as the leaders of the evil team. It's pretty straightforward, like most of the fights at this point in the run, but there's a little strat we can do that's a bit reliant on luck. On this second Pokemon, which is a Perugly, we're going to use Rock Smash. And Rock Smash has a chance of lowering the opponent's defense. I'm not entirely sure on the percentage chances of that, but I believe it's 30%. I may be completely off my mark there. But yeah, on this Perugly, we're going to use Rock Smash as a chance to lower its defense. So hopefully we get that defense fall. Because that means we'll be able to skip using Leer if we get the defense fall. Oh, 50%, okay. So 50% chance to get this defense fall. Hopefully we get it. And of course use Fake Out, the jerk that he is. Alright, defense fall, defense fall. Yay, we got the defense fall, so we can just Rock Smash straight away. And there we go, we defeated Mars. Alright, so coming up, there's one particular spinner on this next route that I do not want to hit, because if I do hit him, I waste about 2 minutes. His name is Hiker Daniel, and what's slow about him is he has 4 Pokemon that each take 2 turns to kill. Which, considering what I said earlier about the Gen 4 engine being slow, you can imagine how long that fight's going to be. So hopefully we don't hit him. I was actually considering saving before him, so I could reset if I hit him, but nah, I don't need to. Yeah, the estimate is 115, Schneider. This is a pretty short run. For reference, a glitchless run is around 4 hours. Actually gonna heal, just in case. Alright, so here's Hiker Daniel, and we did not get hit by him, so we're good. Heal again, just to be safe, because this next fight can be somewhat dangerous. Not really dangerous, it's just pretty annoying. Yeah, easy. We don't have to fight Daniel. I'm actually pretty happy about that because the last time I ran this category for a marathon, which was for DGen-2, another online marathon, I hit Hiker Daniel, and that wasted me about 2 minutes. I don't know the route to get Arceus. I mean, I could try and improvise, maybe. We could add, if we could get production to add 30 minutes to the estimate, that'd be great. Just kidding, please don't. So this double fight is annoying because of that Pachirisu on the left of the screen. He has one move in particular that's really annoying called Spark. Not only is it super effective against us, so it does a decent chunk of our health, it also has a chance to paralyze us. Which is not good because we don't have any items at this point to heal the paralysis. So we'd essentially have to fight through the paralysis until we hit that, or until we die and run out of healing items. How this fight usually goes is we ember all the pop out on the right side of the screen, and while we do that, Chansey in the background is going to hit the Pachirisu with Egg Bomb, then get some chip damage off that way. Alright, so there's Spark, and we did not get paralyzed, good. And Chansey missed Egg Bomb, what a guy. So you'll notice that my health is displayed in numbers on the screen. Normally it's just the default health bar, but there's a button shortcut in the game where if you press start in these double battles, it will make the health display in those numbers on the screen instead of just the normal health bar, which is really helpful, especially for fights where you need to be in a certain health range. Alright, so now we defeated all the bug types. We just need to get some damage on this Pachirisu. The nice thing about this section, by the way, is after each fight, a Cheryl, who is the companion NPC that just joined us, is going to auto-heal us after every battle. And yeah, we just got paralyzed there, so hopefully this doesn't go horribly wrong. What are you doing, Pachirisu? You are just adding insult to injury. Chansey, hello? Okay, sure. Oh my god. So that wasn't too bad, but it could have gone a lot worse. There's actually a really funny thing that happened relating to that fight. So fellow Pokemon speedrunner, Crafted, was doing a run of the Glitchless category for a marathon. And he got to that fight, and there was a chain of events where he accidentally killed Chansey with, I believe, Hidden Power, and there's a chain of events after that where he died. And dying at this point would be a no-go, because so far we haven't taken any centers, so our warp point for when we die is currently set to our mom's house way back at the beginning of the game, so we'd have to take a really long trek to get back to the forest. And that would take a while. Also, these Abras, like the Abras we fought before, at one point does the run go off the wall? Roughly the 1 hour mark, Schneider. But this fight, with these Abras, it's like kind of like the Abras we fought in the schoolhouse. They also have hidden power, but it's not nearly as powerful as the Pokemon we fought before, as those Abras we fought. So which this fight is just easy peasy. Ideally, what happens is once we use Ember on the Abras, Chansey finishes the Abras off with Egg Bomb. He decided to be a real dingus though and use Soft Bulb instead. We're in Flame Wheel. It's basically a more powered up version of Ember, where it's 60 power instead of 40. And that'll be really good in this next gym, because we'll be one-shotting pretty much everything. And really most of the Pokemon from here on out, we'll be using Flame Wheel on, because Flame Wheel is just so good. Yeah, good game, yeah, exactly. You have good taste, Chain Grabs. I'm gonna go on the bottom tile there, just to start the cutscene as early as possible. Cheryl does have to walk a few extra tiles there, but it saves time overall. Alright, so now we'll be going to the second gym rather. The nice thing about this gym is that this gym is all grass type. And we just so happen to have 2 fire type moves. So we'll be one-shotting pretty much everything from here on out. Not just in this gym, but in the next section after this. So, for about the next 12 minutes. So, if there's anything you want to talk about at this point, you can feel free. Memes or questions about the run, you name it. Yeah, Let's Go looks really good. I was considering buying it today, but I ended up buying The World Ends With You instead. Because I was looking for a co-op game to play with a friend, and World Ends With You Final Remix was a good fit. Yeah, I think there's a little bit of bias there. I'm not saying it's a bad choice, but it's still a biased choice. What's my least favorite gen? I have to think about that. Because there's actually not a gen that I don't like, that I legitimately hate. Favorite Pokemon? Easy, Dewott. Dewott for sure. Yeah, true. Illyriel. To answer, I forgot whose question it was. To answer Papita around the 1 hour mark. And to answer the person who asks, what's my least favorite gen? It's hard for me to pick, because I like all of them. In terms of like personal enjoyment, I'd probably say any of the games from Gen 2 and before. Just because I didn't grow up with them, so I didn't have as much nostalgia for them as a lot of other people do. In terms of like legit criticism, probably Gen 7, specifically Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Because there's a metric crap ton of cutscenes in that game, and it makes it a pain to speedrun. I didn't really mind it much in my casual playthrough, but it got really annoying when I tried learning the route and I'd sit through a cutscene every time I reset. It's especially bad in Sun and Moon because in the speedrun for that game, the first point the earliest point you get to save before the starter is 15 minutes in, and even after that, you have to wait through a 3-minute series of cutscenes before you get the starter. It's a lot better in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon though. But still there's a lot more cutscenes in Sun and Moon because of the added storyline points or plot points. So yeah, one more trainer to fight and we'll finally be able to fight the gym leader. So I guess one other thing that I can talk about is I really like how in Platinum they, as I put it, livened up some of the gyms. So the gym design in Diamond Pearl, as much as I like this game, is pretty bland in my opinion. but in Platinum they made some really good designs. For this gym in particular, instead of this tree maze, they designed it around a clock being in the middle of the room, and each time you defeat the trainers, the clock hands that are made out of flower petals spin around and point you to the next trainer. And that's really cool and all, but that's as cool as that is for a casual playthrough, it's actually really annoying in a speedrun because of how long the animation takes. You'll see soon, Mahodesu. Or Mahodesu. They're made up and not really needed? Yeah, exactly. This reminds me of something. So I was watching someone stream the Let's Go games earlier today, who's a fellow Pokemon runner, an RPG runner, and he defeated Lieutenant Surge, and one of the rewards he got for defeating Surge was Surge's autograph. He didn't get a badge, just an autograph. Not really, Mahu. There's nothing like, say, Save Corruption from Gen 1. There is a theoretical Arbitrary Code Execution, or ACE, but it's not viable at all for speedruns. Because my knowledge hasn't really been worked out. Like, the kinks of that haven't been worked out. So I'm actually going to leer here on this Roserade because I will not be able to one-shot it otherwise. And unfortunately, he didn't do enough damage to me. So what I was hoping for there was I was hoping for the Roserade to knock me below 30 health, because that way I'd be able to hopefully set up a Blaze strat for a later fight. Unfortunately, we didn't get it there, so I'll just heal right away. But that's... We'll still be able to do the upcoming fight pretty quickly without it. Or without the Blaze strat. So as Resident Sleeper as that section was, we'll be coming across another Resident Sleeper section where we'll be one-shotting most everything in the section. I did not mash the text there. I guess one other thing I could note though is there's a couple of really neat mechanics with this game for speedrunning purposes. One of them is that you can split double battles into two separate single battles, and if you do it that way you can actually avoid trainers and you can skip trainers, which saves time overall. That doesn't get used in any percent. Or actually it gets used in 90% one time. It gets used a couple more times in Glitchless. So this poor guy wants to show us the underground, but we don't have time because we're speedrunning. And we come across this NPC named Cynthia, who's definitely not the champion of this game. I mean, she has the Lucario earrings and the black dress and the long yellow hair, so clearly she can't be the champion. Definitely not. Well, spoilers, she is, but we won't be fighting her in this run for reasons you'll find out in roughly 11 minutes from now. So we got cut from her, and we're gonna immediately teach that to Chimchar, or Monferno now. Like I was saying, Monferno has the unfortunate capability of learning all the HMs needed to beat the game. And I'm actually going to teach Cut over Ember because we no longer need it. Yeah, exactly, Gym Freak. Seriously, like I said, the glitch at the end is going to be a neat surprise for those that haven't seen this run. So this is one of those fights I was talking about where it's normally a double battle, but you can split it into two separate single battles. We can't skip we can't skip either of the trainers here by fighting one of them. We still fight both of the trainers, but it's still beneficial to fight them as separate single battles. I accidentally used Cut there, go me. And I still one-shot. That was a crit! Oh my god. 200 IQ play, I'm telling you. What I meant to use there was Flame Wheel. Whatever, man. We'll just roll with it. chalk that down to being lucky. Exactly, it's the spirit of Bidoof. Feels Bidoof, man. Kind of Surner stock. The bike does come into play with the glitch we'll be doing. Why fight them separately? Because it saves time. Use cut again! God dang it. Okay, crit this time, please. Okay, that wasn't a crit, but we still one-shot him. Usually, I have Flame Wheel in that slot where I teach cut. With another route that I do. So I keep accidentally misclicking and pressing cut instead of Flame Wheel. Man. Force of habit. God dang force of habit. Yeah, it saves time because if you fight them as a double battle, both of their Pokemon attack at once, or in the same turn, so it wastes time in animations if you fight them as a double battle. There was actually one time where I accidentally taught cut over Leer, so I had to improvise for the Jupiter fight coming up. We're not gonna misclick and press cut there. I learned my lesson. Kind of, but it doesn't matter too much for this run because it's because of how long it is. Yeah, exactly, Giga. I'm curious, actually, what is my time currently at right now? I'd imagine it's probably at 55 minutes because I got the Manip second try. I was using the DS touchpad, but my finger was at the wrong position. Once again, professional speedrunner. 101, really? That still shouldn't be too bad. Actually, it'd be 57 at this point. If I had gotten them in it first try. I was way off. So we're almost done with this Flame Wheel slog. Well, we'll get to the exciting part soon enough. In fact, I might have asked at 10101. Nice. Alright. So the Jupiter fight is relatively straightforward. If I was at a good health range, I'd be able to go for a strat where on the second Pokemon in this fight, which is a Skuntank, before I use the second Flame Wheel, I would have to use Blaze, but I would have to use Leer, but if I had Blaze, I'd be able to skip using Leer. Which would save a turn, but unfortunately that didn't happen this time. We'll have to do good old-fashioned Leering. So we'll use... Hopefully we don't get a high roll on Flame Wheel. And we didn't, that's good. So the annoying thing about the Skuntank, which you just saw there, is you can use Smokescreen. For those that have played Pokemon, Smokescreen is essentially a version 2.0 of Sand Attack. And Sand Attack is really bad because it greatly lowers your accuracy. So, while you're setting up there with the first Flame Wheel and the Leer, you can repeatedly miss. And probably die at some point if it goes pear-shaped. Alright, so that's the last fight of the run, and you might be wondering why, but you'll find out soon enough. Because at this point of the run, we'll be doing soon, rather, at the end of this run here, I'll be doing a glitch called tweaking, and I'll try to explain tweaking as best as I can. Basically how tweaking works is the overworld map in the Generation 4 games, Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, and then Heart Gold, Soul Silver, are made up of these 32 by 32 square tiles. And there are areas between these squares, at these intersections between these squares, called load lines. And if you do very specific movement patterns on those load lines, it can glitch out the world map in pretty interesting ways, which you'll see soon. I mean, I can try Gym Freak, but I haven't practiced it. That's the thing. I don't want to use the journal. The other neat thing about the bike is there's two different speeds of the bike there's two different speeds the bike has that you can switch between at will, which makes the movement really interesting, both at any percent for the short amount of time you use it, and the glitchless run. So yeah, no cycling road tweak because I want to be safe. Sorry to disappoint, but gotta do it for the sake of safety. Because, by the way, if you do the cycling road tweak incorrectly, there's a chance you can crash the game, and I wouldn't want that to happen. I mean, obviously I'd save before it, but still. Like, the really interesting thing about the bike is you can use the slower of the two speeds to get past trainers a bit easier. Which doesn't really apply at all on this run, but it's still helpful. Gonna slow down there just to get past these trainers a bit easier. That's our last rappel in the run because we need to get through this patch of grass. If I could not bonk, that'd be good. I'm gonna keep that slower bike speed going just so I can get past that optional. There have been times where I accidentally hit that optional in runs, and it's not fun. Alright, so here's the glitch. So we're going to go to this line of tiles right here, do that bit of movement, and you'll notice that some funky things are happening to the overworld map right now. Don't worry about it. And we're going to save and quit in this specific spot, because when you do a tweak, in order for the map to go back to normal, you need to open a menu, or do some sort of action that involves opening a menu. And saving and quitting is one of those things. And doing it there is the most optimal place to do it, because that's where we would reload the map for this specific tweak. And you need to save and quit in order for this specific variation of the tweak to work. So you notice when we load in at the location that we saved at, we are inside of a building. Don't worry about it. And we essentially entered it from the inside, and as a result we're out of bounds. In this black out of bounds area that's aptly named the Void. And I need to count my steps here for a bit. Basically need to wait until Filestone Mart appears on the top screen. There we go. So the special thing about the Void is moving in certain ways, and in this case saving and quitting at certain points, causes some... It can trigger certain events that happen in the game. Like, for example, as Gym Freak mentioned in chat, you can go and catch Arceus if you want, which would take a while, so I'm not going to do that. And I believe in this game you can also go and catch Shaman and Darkrai if you want. The option's there. But there's a very special event we can trigger by doing a certain void path in a speedrun. And you'll see what that event is in just a second. I also did a little trick there where I held down the soft reset buttons, which are L, R, start, and select. And that soft resets the game on the earliest possible frame. Alright, so as soon as we lock left here, you'll notice that we're in a cutscene. Rowan and Cynthia here forgot to turn on the lights. Alright, what do you know? We're in the Hall of Fame. Alright, time is coming up in a few seconds. Sorry it was kind of abrupt. And... time. I kind of had Gym Freak explained it there. Alright, so that obviously takes a bit of explaining. As I explained, or as Jim Freak just explained in chat, by going in the void, you can access bits of data, like cutscene triggers, and that cutscene just so happened to be one of those cutscenes we can hit in a speedrun setting with different void paths that speedrunners have routed out, is the cutscene for the Hall of Fame. And that path is actually a lot faster than some of the older paths we've taken in the void. There was another path we used to take that took around over 3,000 steps. So lowering it to 95 is good. So I'm assuming we have a bit of buffer since I was 7 minutes under estimate. So I do want to take this time to give a huge thanks to the Questing for Glory committee for accepting this run. I'm planning to submit a few Pokemon games to Limit Break next year, which is hopefully going to be my first Limit Break. And doing this run is a very good next step to doing that. So huge thanks to the Questing for Glory staff for doing that. And also huge thanks to the chat and Jim Freak for keeping this run interactive and fun. And I think that's about it for me. Definitely stick around because we have some really good runs for you on this last day. I think that's about it. You can cut me off whenever. Although I assume since we have downtime we can wait through the credits, I suppose. Yeah, my explanation of the void was kind of bare bones. There's other runners like Jim Freak that can explain the void a lot better than I can. There's a lot of nerds in the Pokemon speedrunning community that figured these things out. Yeah, High Spirits, I'll just wait through the credits. We're roughly halfway through the credits right now. Yeah, thank you, Kaios. And Jim Freak knows the void a lot better than I do. I should have had him on commentary. There's roughly 30 seconds left in the credits here, and we'll be good. I'll wait until it fully fades to black here. gotta keep the suspense going. There we go. Alright, so that's it for me. Enjoy the last